SMT Nation, we back. Nation, this has to be one of the most interesting things that is happening in telco. In an otherwise very boring industry, there's not really a lot of shaking and moving. T-Mobile is a transitional business. They've gone from small, disruptive carrier to, bigger acquisition type carrier. And now they're getting into wireline. And we finally have some details. And of course, there was smoke and we found the fire. So let's talk about some of those interesting tidbits we learned from T-Mobile about their fiber project and their fiber business moving forward. Let's cover those topics here in today's video. A link for the article for the inspiration of this video will be provided from Dano Light Reading. Link in the description. Ways to support us can be found there as well. Please do like and share this video. Subscribe if you're new. And turn on the bell notifications icon to never miss an upload from the SMT. I listened to the earnings report, wrote down everything as it pertains to T-Fiber and this joint venture between T-Mobile and I think it's is it EQT is the name of the business, the investment firm, infrastructure investment firm, in order to buy Lumos, which is a fiber builder and operator. So what it is, as a joint venture, you have these two companies, T-Mobile and EQT, coming together, putting up the ducats to buy Lumos, and then Lumos builds the fiber. They get the access to the Lumos customers, but the brand is going to be T-Mobile. So T-Mobile leverages their brand, their notoriety, their consumer positive equity, right, in the marketplace, and then that's what they're going to do. Now the capital light model is still in place. T-Mobile's investing $950 million. Let's just call it $1 billion for the sake of easiness, right? That's a 50% stake in the joint venture, which means EQT is putting up the other half, and together they're buying Lumos, which represents all the fiber, all the hardware of the network, and then, the customer base. Okay, so 3.5 million homes to be passed by 2028 gives you an idea of how much they're going to reach. It's not a lot. It's a small number of homes that they're passing. To give you guys scale, I think T-Mobile passes, or excuse me, Verizon passes maybe 18 or 19 million addresses. And then for AT&T, I think that number is closer to like 27. And I think they got goals to get closer to 30 or more. So to kind of give you guys scale, that kind of lets you know that the difference in that reach. So that's kind of what we know so far. They're still going to do those little wholesale deals, right? With, like Pilot Fiber in Manhattan, and then the couple of locations they have out in Colorado and Pueblo and those types. Though those things aren't stopping. They're going to continue to probably drop some more of those markets here and there, right? So that's all about the T-Mobile brand selling other people's fiber. But, T-Mobile looks like this is going to be something that they do moving forward. They're going to move slowly. They're going to move carefully. They're not going to jump in with all their ducats all at once. It's going to remain a capital light investment. So do not expect T-Mobile to be Verizon Fios. Do not expect them to be AT&T Fiber. Do not expect them to be Comcast. Do not expect them to be Spectrum. They are not those things. In fact, they're not going to be Altice. They're not going to be Cox. It's just not going to happen. It can't do fiber capital light unless you're taking literal like baby steps. So, according to T-Mobile, they're going to learn, they're going to grow, they're going to experiment, they're going to kind of dip their toes in the waters for now. It's all about their brand recognition, leveraging that to make sales. They also mentioned that the fiber network could potentially relieve pressure from their network, which kind of tells me that they might be strategically looking to build through Lumos in areas where where T-Mobile has really good market share and interest for the product. Maybe it's where they have a lot of the fixed wireless access customers. I know the end game for them is to get to 28% penetration rate. Those are very lofty goals. I commend T-Mobile for coming in with lofty goals, but I think sometimes we have to temper our expectations. Guys, 28% penetration rate, like Fios and AT&T Fiber, they're like 36%, 38% penetration rate. That's really hard to do. 28% as a new player? If you say so, T-Mobile. And then they also mentioned that a fiber passing will cost them $500 per passing, which I've already talked to and spoken to a couple of people within the industries who work in wireline. They told me that is an incredibly aggressive attempt for cost. Many times, a fiber passing, even if it's urban, can be more expensive than that. When it goes to rural, multiply by 10. A fiber passing would be thousands. I have no idea how T-Mobile is going to achieve $500 in a passing. I looked at the map where Lumos is offered. I have no clue how they're going to pull this off. Maybe it is going to be some rural building. Maybe that's what it tells us. I don't know. One of the investor questions that came in at the earnings call, was, is it even worth the brain damage to do this whole fiber thing? And the CEO, Mike Sievert, said, our brand is going to sell. We're going to have a 28% penetration rate. It's $500 a passing. He justified it. He said it's going to be capital light. They're not worried about, it's not going to be risky. They're not going to take losses. That's what he said. What do you guys think of those early disclosures from T-Mobile about this project? We're going to have to learn more in the future. They're going to hold some kind of a, big investor conference or tech conference in the fall of this year. So maybe they'll talk more about it then. I'm sure in the meantime, between now and then, they're going to be working with vendors, working with industry experts and technicians and recruiting and expanding and, setting themselves up for the future. This sounds like something that's probably going to get underway in 2025 anyways, but we'll get more information at that time. What do you guys think about all this? T-Mobile doing good? Do you like the prospects? Do you think they're going to be in over their head? Do you think it's going to remain something small? Do you think it could grow beyond that in the future? 2028, 2030? What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Sound off in the comment section below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.